Hello everyone, welcome to a new Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 video. I recently found a Reddit post going through a 1 hour 40 minute interview with Andre Bittner, who is a senior game designer at Warhorse Studios. Now while we obviously won't be getting all the info from that interview through a Reddit post, the video is unfortunately in Czech and I do not speak any Czech. Nonetheless, I did find some interesting things I'd like to go over with you, and I'll leave a link to the interview in the Reddit post in the description for those interested. So first off, Andre did not confirm it 100%, but they are probably preparing or already doing certification phase for consoles. This means to me that they have a launch-ready version of the game that's been sent out to Xbox and PlayStation, who will take a week or weeks to certify the game to make sure it doesn't break the whole console platform. Having done some research on how long these things generally take, I found a Steam community post from Shake and Bake for Chicken, who basically says that it takes around 5 to 7 days for most of the time, depending on the time of year and how busy the submission teams are. But that if things fail miserably, you can get a half list of failures back and you have to resubmit it. I also found Rami Ismail say that the certification as a process is a giant list of rules and considerations you can access. You submit your game, wait a week or weeks, I think in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 they will be waiting some weeks, and get a list back of failed criteria. If testing finds a lot of failed criteria, they might stop testing midway and return a partial list. Andre Bittner also said there was a 0-day patch confirmed. Why do I know that there's a launch-ready version of the game? Because of the submission process on console, you need to have a game ready for launch, but game testing obviously doesn't stop at that point. You can send a mostly finished version of the game for certification, so that's already done, and continue working in the background, finding and fixing bugs and optimizing the game more, so that you're not running after the certification process on console and you're not waiting for the certification process on console. You can release the game immediately, then bring in a patch that fixes all the things that you fixed during the certification process. It's more efficient to do things that way. Andre said a lot of the game mechanics will look very similar to KCD 1, but the mechanics behind them are changed a lot, either to make them work better or more stable. This is kind of expected. If you look at the process KCD 1 went through, how vastly different the graphics look from early design concept to release. It's like they first had to prove the concept to their investor with the Kickstarter, then prove the concept to an audience with KCD 1, and now we're getting a more final refinement of everything in KCD 2. You've also heard Dan Vavra say in the review video that KCD 2 is what it should have been in the beginning, so further refinement of rough spots from KCD 1, like the combat, think of fighting several enemies at once. The obvious dialogue pauses system, where characters will stand in idle, do a little pause, go back to idle, do another little pause, go back to idle. Or Henry being the only man capable of doing horse combat in the entirety of Bohemia, aside from the humans in the beginning of the game. And a more expanded crime system, alongside many other things, should not come as a surprise to anyone. Maps have travel mechanics between them, but they open via story events first. This is also confirmed by the PR manager Toby on Twitter, who says 2 maps, together twice the size of KCD 1, loading screens when you start the game and when you travel between the big maps. That's it. I'm also fairly certain I've heard it somewhere else, but I've been unable to find it at the time of writing. It will also likely not be able to run off from Trotsky Castle and loot the entirety of Gutenberg at the beginning of the game. Maybe Trotsky Castle will also serve as a little bit of a tutorial part of the game. But all in all, I think it's a good thing, because otherwise I know people would be looting Gutenberg to shit from the very beginning. Even though the size is double of KCD 1, the maps feel triple the size thanks to the city of Gutenberg. He compared Gutenberg to Rattay, where he described Rattay as one street, and Gutenberg as tens of similar streets intertwining. This will definitely give a different experience from KCD 1, where the largest we had was Sassau, and the only walled city we had was Rattay. Technically Skalitz, but those were wooden walls. Rattay was vastly different, having stone walls, of course. I can see this giving also more of Assassin's Creed vibe with all the elements of Kingdom Come Deliverance. And I don't know about you, but those Gutenberg citizens are definitely not gonna be safe from our shenanigans, just like they weren't safe in Rattay. Smithing will be possible only with certain weapons. It will not be possible to create maces, for example, as those were casted. I wonder how limited that will make things. I can imagine standard weaponry found in Bohemia would be entirely possible for Henry, like short swords, long swords, hunting swords, and perhaps axes. But cumin sabers or pole axes might not be possible because Henry's neither a cumin blacksmith or a munitions blacksmith, and a pole axe simply does not behoove a squire. Not making maces smithable makes sense though, as casting is an entirely different skill set from smithing, and at some point you have to set boundaries for the scope of your game. Otherwise, I'd like to suggest weaving my own combat jupon and gilding my own armor. Combat will still be complex. They have mainly worked on the training part to make it as understandable as possible and not hide it behind optional Bernard training like in KCD 1. But there will be now weapons that will not require as much of a skill to use and allow people to use streamlined combat mechanics. I think this will be a good step forward. While I personally did not struggle with the combat in the first title, I definitely did have an "oh" moment during my first playthrough when I learned about Master Strikes after having run into the forest and gotten frustrated that Runt was such a difficult opponent to kill. It's also been confirmed that the combat has been simplified with regards to how many sides you can slash from. This has been reduced from 5 sides to 4 sides, which should make things easier to get a grip on, though not make highly skilled combat impossible. I'd personally be disappointed if the combat became too easy, even though they did tackle Master Strikes being the easy win button. No kill run should still be possible. I'm giving away a copy of the game if you don't get a pacifist achievement like in KCD 1, and yes, you may quote me on that. Andre Bittner described his last game session as a hiking one. He spent 4 hours in forests and city surroundings hunting and enjoying the views without it feeling boring. The exploration part of the game will be similar to KCD 1, a lot of small hidden secrets but without it feeling overcrowded. Personally, I hope there's actually enough to do, like how we can talk to a considerable amount of the NPCs in KCD 1, which makes the game actually feel alive instead of GTA, Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, or Red Dead Redemption, where yeah, it's an open world, but no, there's nothing to do and it's a whole lot of empty. Regarding secrets, it's obviously not the idea that secrets are everywhere, otherwise there wouldn't be secrets. Save importing from KCD 1 is maybe a thing. He did not want to answer the question. There is maybe a reason to the new look of Henry. They were dancing around the question a lot. This is a bit confusing to me, as Vuku, a developer on the KCD Discord, has confirmed that they simply cannot access saves from another game on consoles, which would essentially exclude 2 major player bases from having a direct continuation of Henry's KCD 1 story. Now there are ways to mitigate this, such as doing a questionnaire like The Witcher did, or uploading your save to an external website. But about the latter, Vuku said they would have had to implement that much earlier. All in all, I don't get why Warhorse would dance around this so much, as it seems like there's a technical impossibility that they simply cannot fix on their end. The amount of voiceovers is huge. Czech dubbing confirmed. He is working only on parts of the English one, and it feels to him like he spent half of his life in the studio. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Now, I want Brian Blessed to make a return in the voiceovers. I think he was easily the best voice in the entire first game, and I found it a bit of a shame he was given Konrad Kieser to voice, although he absolutely nailed it and the character was a lot of fun to interact with. I think his voice could have easily been given to Sir Hanush or Sir Divish. To me, Divish always felt like a super young voice in a very old body. Brian Blessed would have been perfect for that. The new feature of NPC reactions to your looks and actions where you can react back is very deep. It will feel as a second nature for players. Quick responses, quick dialogues with shopkeepers is a thing. NPCs will react more realistically when you will be in places where you should not be. They will not only shout as in KCD 1, they will actually actively try to kick you out without waiting for guards. This is kind of coming back to the mechanics of the game being more refined. Although dialogue technically isn't a game mechanic, it's still a system within the game that could be refined. In the first game, it could sometimes feel a bit slow after the 20th time you hear naturally when asking if we can do something about the price. Hearing this system become a more natural system makes me very excited for what's to come, and I feel like we'll be able to absolutely lose ourselves in the immersion the game is going to offer. It's also going to be an absolutely punishing game for naughty people. I know I'd flat out raise my fists if I see someone who I never met before in my house without asking many questions, but just giving them a stern warning, get out now or else. Andre Bittner couldn't answer the swimming question. A quick Google search revealed to me humans have known how to swim for a very long time. Now, if swimming will be just in the cutscene we saw in the trailer, or if swimming can be a last-ditch resort by leaving all your belongings and jumping into the water while a group of brigands is chasing you, I don't know. At least the devs are tactically keeping their lips sealed not to reveal too much to us too long before release. Although I've recently seen a video where the devs did say that there wouldn't be swimming and that the cutscene was just a cutscene. Although, I wonder why they're not answering the question about swimming then. Clothing is a bit reworked. For example, you cannot have cuirass without gambeson below it, or similar combinations. You will be able to save wardrobe sets and switch between them with button presses. I'm starting a petition to get the freedom to chafe my torso in KCD 2. What do you mean I need a gambeson to wear a cuirass? Jokes aside, saving wardrobe sets is going to be a massive time saver and will make it a lot more viable to have different clothes for different scenarios and settings, as I did talk in my previous video. Working siege crossbow in the game. But can we make a kebab stick of several cumins? Gun will have more than one type of ammo. I presume this will be between scatter shot and just a normal ball shot. Maybe we can apply poison to the shot for extreme overkill? I don't think we'll have chain shot to shoot down the sills of war wagons though. Mainly because war wagons didn't have those. Although it would be absolutely terrifying to imagine the war wagons being used as substitute horses on a Bohemian battlefield. Oh no. I'm imagining things. That would be terrifying. There will be a button for helmet visor. You will be in control of when it's open or closed. Cool. Nice. Though I wonder what the visor view will look like. I saw people hate it in KCD 1 and I never understood why. And I do wonder if they added a mechanic that if your visor is down, you overheat, you get sweat rolling down your face, or you run out of stamina a lot quicker. I think those things would be cool. And if having your visor down might protect you more, actually protect you more, but also make vision definitely more difficult. And, you know, if there's the, do you want to have the trade-off of having your visor open or closed? Do you want to potentially be stabbed in the face or not? I think those would be cool mechanics if they added them in. The extended trailer with developers was filmed in January already. This we actually knew before the release trailer because a contract with the city of Kuttenberg was actually found. Some residents had seen the lights, and there was a journalist who had figured things out as well. The journalist was actually invited to the press conference about the game, but then they never showed up, which was peculiar to say the least. There will be some KCD merch now. Really? I didn't know there was no merch beforehand. I wonder what these things were then. The feature he's most proud of now is how improved character looks are and how next level facial animations will be compared to KCD 1. Yes, they looked absolutely stunning in the trailer and I cannot wait to see it all in game. I'm glad Warhorse has been able to use a lot more resources to put into the second game and that the developers had a lot more freedom to do as they please. It goes to show that you cannot make good games where your goal is to just make money. You have to have people in charge who want to actually provide an experience, and that's what Warhorse has. God bless him, and may Henry come to see you soon. I hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you next time.